Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a deleted user in the AITAH subreddit. The post is titled AITAH for wanting to divorce my postpartum wife. It's stupid to think I'm at this point, but here I am. My STBX wife, 28F, and I, 29M, have wanted kids for years, and we were thrilled when she finally got pregnant last year. From day one, I wanted to be the most supportive husband and future father I could. Her father was never involved in her life. I used to work as a tech in labor and delivery, and my brother, to put it kindly, is not the most involved father. I saw too many problems up close when it came to lacking husbands, and I would be damned before I made the same mistakes. The problem is, roughly 4 weeks into her pregnancy, everything started going downhill. She stopped wanting sex. Fair enough. Hormones and stress make that a problem. I went full stop. But then she didn't want any physical interaction. No cuddling, no kissing, slowly becoming more and more distant. Her eating constantly changed and she was terrible about it. She would demand I get her something all day, then the moment I give it to her, she wants something else, screaming at me. Okay, again, hormonal issues. I get it, no problem. She never let me go to any appointments, no groups she went to, spent more time away. She became cold and bitter, constantly angry at me. This went on for months. She slapped me a couple of times when I forgot one of her dozens of tasks she assigned me during the day. She stopped doing anything for the house a month into the pregnancy. Sure, she's pregnant, I get it. Moving around is hard, but she wouldn't even do laundry about 4 weeks in, and by 5 weeks I did everything. I'm also the primary source of income. I barely sleep. I'm running on fumes. She made me sleep in the guest room, would always try to pick fights. I never once raised my voice, my hand, or my tone. I sat there and constantly mentally reminded myself this isn't her and this would all be worth it. She didn't want me to make any baby decisions. No name, no work on the nursery, nothing. 1 month before she delivered, she yelled how useless I am and how I don't do anything and that she's staying with her mother. She didn't let me get her anything, come check on her, threatened to divorce me and get a restraining order if I even called her. A couple of weeks back, I found out about the birth of my son from a Facebook post. She posted it with her mother and some family. It broke me. I tried to go to the hospital and visit. They had security kick me out. After months of outright hatred, anger, and abuse thrown at me 24/7, I had it. Odds are I'm not even on the birth certificate. I opened a new account and all my deposits go there. I took half out of our joint account. She never bought baby stuff ahead of time. Who knows what that money was going towards? So now that she has to buy supplies for our son, she's used up every cent. I have gotten a lawyer. The house is mine. I'm the only one who spent money on it in any way. I have sent the rest of her stuff to her mother's house. I'm demanding a paternity test. I'm not spending another damn cent until I get verification it's my son. I'm absolutely divorcing her. She chose the stay-at-home life. If she cheated, she's screwed. Her mother has money for a couple of weeks stay, not even close to enough for full-time support. If he is my son, I will absolutely be getting my rights as a father for a relationship. Last week, my STBX called. She was practically hyperventilating. She wanted to come home. She was crying how it was all a mistake. She's not staying with her mother. She's at a friend's house. She wants to come home. She wants our son to have his father. I told her I don't believe he is my son. Why the would she pull this shit if he is? Show me a paternity test and I'll do everything I can for him and him only. She wants to meet tomorrow at a park so I can talk to her. I said sure so I can finally say everything I should have said months ago to her face. My parents are hoping we can make up, but they absolutely understand if I won't. My brother is a deadbeat jackass, so I don't care what he has to say, but my sister thinks I should at least hear her out. I see nothing wrong with what OP is doing. Something is very wrong with this woman. Just as OP has done multiple times in his story, hormones can only be used as an excuse to an extent. At some point, you need to start suspecting that something else is wrong. The fact that this woman didn't allow OP to be there at his child's birth is baffling. And then to learn that your child was born through social media is heartbreaking. Then the fact that she lied about going to her mother's house is another irritating detail. But hearing that she's groveling for forgiveness is pretty satisfying. I was trying to figure out any ulterior motives for OP's partner's decisions, and nothing I can think of is good. User C. Denove said NTA. Someone mentioned parapausal psychosis. She needs to talk to a doctor, but sheesh, if I found out that my baby was born on Facebook, I'd be absolutely flattened. User Mad World said, 11 days ago, I witnessed the personality of a 26-year-old shatter. I took her to a hospital for a psych evaluation. She was involuntarily committed. It took less than 1 year to get to her breaking point. My daughter is devastated. Her friend is so sick. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I can't imagine seeing her every day while her personality changed. She is a danger to herself and others, and apparently has been dangerous for months. The point is, only a professional trained in psychological illnesses can diagnose and treat complex and long-lasting issues such as this. Your pain is absolutely valid and needs to be acknowledged. You too should consider therapy to deal with what has happened to you in the last year. Everyone recommending you meet her in public is a good idea if that's what you want to do. Personally, I think speaking to an attorney as a first step to map out what you should do is the best idea. I would tell them what you went through and what the marriage was like before she changed so drastically. Ask about the possibility she has a mental illness and what to do if that's what's happened. If she's mentally ill, it's critical she be evaluated. She could be dangerous to the infant, herself, you, and everyone else. If she refuses an eval, there's a huge possibility she's conning you, and you'll quickly find out. Tell them you want a paternity test. If it's your baby, you need to establish your rights immediately. Bonding is so critical for fathers too. No matter what you discover, you have every right to divorce regardless of what everyone else says. You have suffered through permanent damage and might want to consider therapy. I'm incredibly sad for all of you. I hope you heal from this pain. I hope you find peace in your life and one day you're happy again. Definitely not the AH. User Substantial Youth said, NTA, do not meet her at the park tomorrow. If she wants to meet you, then it can be at your lawyer's office with your representative present and the conversation recorded. If the child is yours after an immediate paternity test, make sure your name is on the certificate and that you file for equal custody and have an equal say in all decisions of the child's life. I would even ask to communicate via a parenting app. Save all forms of communication from her via text and email so you have a paper trail, no phone calls. I am very sorry that you had to go through this and your experience becoming a father, if the child is yours, was ruined. You realize your worth and you do not want to be with a partner like this. Please protect yourself. I hope you have cameras around your property, a ring camera by the door, and that you claim she abandoned your space. Your parents need to be on your side and follow your lead. The relationship is not healthy anymore, and now that a child is involved, you should be putting the child first and not raising it in a potentially toxic environment. Under this comment, OP said the following: as far as my parents, they love her and believe she had some mental break during the pregnancy. However, when they found out about the Facebook post, my dad was heartbroken and my mother was utterly livid. They want me to have a happy family, but they are also pissed at her on my behalf. They will support whatever I decide. User Potentro said, I'll be honest. By the title, I thought, yeah, you're probably the asshole. After reading it, NTA, she's f***ing nuts. Sounds like she cheated and the grass wasn't actually greener on the other side, so she wants to come back. Out of curiosity, you just let her be a stay-at-home wife before you had a kid? Is that normal or common? To this, OP said, to me it was normal. I made enough to support both of us. We planned on having several kids. She wanted to start a business where she worked from home. It all made sense at the time. About 2 days later, OP provided an update. I had to speed up the process of actually talking to her since the story spread quickly around on the internet, inevitably reaching someone involved with friends or family, and now way more people I personally know are getting the details than I'm comfortable with. Before I ended up chatting with her, I opened up to my parents and sister about what was happening in detail. My parents were flustered at me hiding the more unsavory details, to say the least, and are probably going to be checking up on me daily for the rest of the year to make sure I'm okay. My sister would probably have to be held back from thrashing her, so I had to get a friend to help with the chat since my sister would not be able to contain herself. So basically, within hours of the story going into the digital stratosphere, I called my wife back as quickly as I could to finally sit down and talk. We chose a local park this morning and I had a friend of mine record the conversation from beginning to end. I was basically ready to hear the generic affair story and get out of Dodge. But of course, it got complicated. We met at a section with picnic tables and picked one as far away from other people to avoid them getting wrapped up in any awkwardness. She looked terrible, haggard, stressed, and thankfully without the baby. She tried to have the big emotional chat and whatnot. I wasn't tearing up or acting like the hardened badass. I frankly was just wanting to figure out what this was all for. I didn't even get to ask the question before the floodgates spilled. I'm going to attempt to relay this story as best as I can, because even looking back on the recording, it's a mess, but also it's because I don't 100% believe it, so fair warning, it could all be fake. This all started with her mother. As I said before, my wife's father was absent. He started off well, having 2 sons with her mother before her. When her mother got pregnant with her, her father went from being the picture-perfect guy he was at first and slowly changed into a negligent, abusive, unfaithful, and unsupportive jackass, ending with him disappearing when her mother was delivering. He's been in and out of prison since. No one knows why he did it. The impression her mother always gave was a strong, resilient woman who withstood anything life threw at her and did anything for her kids. She has claimed to be in therapy for years. In reality, she has managed to conceal a deep hatred for men outside of her sons, but according to my wife, there was favoritism towards her. My wife also found out she stopped therapy almost a decade ago, but never told anyone. Her mother seemed to always have some slight against me, and now I know why. She was never hostile, but certainly wasn't warm to me, and hearing about her secret hatred, I kinda knew where this was going. Roughly about half a year before she got pregnant, my mill slowly began sowing seeds of doubt and bitterness into my wife. Apparently, she had a full mental break. She told her about me staying late at work, possibly hiding an affair, or that myself providing majority of the income was setting her up for a hard divorce. Everything my mill's husband did to her, she convinced my wife I would do to her, and she pumped this poison into her for months. My wife always idolized her mother, and compounding that with anxiety she suffered from for years, she dove in deep. As soon as she got pregnant, like on the dot, she fell into a mental hole within days. And that's when her mother got hold of her again. Hearing about her pregnancy apparently triggered something fierce in my MIL, and it spiraled from there. She had my wife fully convinced it was happening again. Every single thing my wife did to hurt me was at the behest of my MIL. Combined with pregnancy hormones and undiagnosed mental illness she claims to have and stress, she completely lost her mind. She 100% believed I would bail, so she was punishing me first, culminating in her moving in with her mother and leaving me out of the birth. While I was sending the papers and started the divorce proceedings, she kicked into full-blown postpartum depression, and when her mother finally got her, when she finally beat me, which I guess was her victory over her ex, she had no more use of my wife. The family involved in the birth included my MIL's sister and my wife's brothers. While my MIL and her sister knew what was going on, my bills got fed the BS narrative my mill spun. When my mill was done with her plan, the entire facade came down, and my bills found out everything upon questioning my wife. They were horrified. Needless to say, postpartum, facing a very grueling divorce on her side, no longer welcome in our home, and having done everything to alienate me from my son at the behest of a broken lunatic, reality hit her like a truck. She torched her entire life because her mother is a broken shell of a human who used her to enact her own sense of justice. The very mother who washed her hands of her after she got what she wanted. Or at least this is the story she gave me. Frankly, there are many holes in her story. The starting point of the pattern of abuse, the claims of who was involved in the delivery, me being absent from appointments, the friend she's staying with, and of course my alleged son's paternity. It seems way too fucking crazy to be made up. Who the hell would go to the effort to make this up facing what she's facing? As soon as she finished, she said she's setting up a paternity test and gave me the info I need. With luck, it should be done in roughly a week or so once I do my part. She gave the most sincere apologies any human being has ever given. She's begged for another chance. I was frankly too stunned to say anything, so she left and promised to call soon. I don't think I can give her another chance. I don't think I can ever risk anything like this again. I'm still hoping she's just being a cheating psycho and spinning a sympathy story to try and throw me off, because this got way too complicated. User Dub said, "I'm not saying that your story is fake, but if it's not, I wish it were for your sake. My ex-wife betrayed me in a way that made it impossible to trust her ever again. No matter what she did from that moment on, in the back of my mind, I was worried that she was doubling down on what she'd done. Maybe not cheating, but that's possible in there too. Lying to police was involved. No matter the feelings or the history, it's pretty damned hard to come back from that. I've made conscious efforts to intentionally trust people again, but I could never bring myself to trust her one bit. Over the last 17 years, she's done nothing to show that my inability to trust her was unwarranted. Best of luck, man." User Bargle said, I am so sorry for your pain. Nobody deserves to go through insanity like this. I'm glad she's cooperating on the paternity test. However, no matter the results, you should go through with the divorce. You do not need this in your life. Given this incident, I would even pursue full custody of your child. Get duplicate copies of the recording of this meeting. Make sure that they are easily transferable to your attorney for the divorce. Best of luck and, of course, NTA. This next post was made in the Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Responsible Dark. The post is titled, My 7-year-old brother isn't potty trained and I'm about to crash out. You do not understand how tired I am of the smell of shit. It's not even accidents. He shits himself every day and I have to smell it. My parents are trying with him. They take his technology whenever he does it, but it never works. I don't think he has any mental disorder. He can talk and he does well with reading at school. There's just something that makes him poop himself. We tell him to stop and he says no. I am so sick of the entire upper portion of my house smelling like poop when he decides to do that. And I am so sick of existing in public and having to smell my smelly brother all day. He's not a baby anymore. These are legit poops. I love him, but my nose really cannot handle this for much longer. User Under the Pink Fence said, please tell me your parents have taken him to the doctor. User Zookeeper said, have you asked him why he does it? What has to be done so he stops? Could you convince him to do it outside like a dog so the home doesn't have to smell like poop? Have your parents taken him to a child psychologist? My 4-year-old cannot stand the sensation of even a shart, so something developmentally has gone astray here for him to comfortably enjoy this act. Is he being abused? Hitting, shaming, and punishment are not the solution to this. Proper intervention, direct intention, and attention are. User This Could Be Massive said, pooping pants is a sign of sexual abuse in kids his age. User Strike Light said, I understand your frustration, but you should be more concerned about your brother's health. There is definitely something wrong with him, and if your parents haven't realized that, they might be in denial. User Different Bat said, my cousin is 10 and does the same thing, but he plays in it and tells us he does it because he's bored. It's horrible, and I wish his mother would get him checked out, but I don't know. Edit, he is not special needs. He has been in a safe environment for years. He is just a spoiled brat and nobody punishes him for doing it. Believe it or not, kids do this kind of behavior just to get attention and be brats. I have a large family. I'm the oldest of my cousins. Trust me, they're spoiled.